Hi, this is a XWI podcast. I'm gonna be redoing some of my old podcasts I had, and kind of post them out. I want to redo them. I want to redo them. I need to send them out, but this one is gonna be a short one. It's uh, it's about and for those listening, because I have a video on it as well. It's about uh, Black Americans, about the genetic diversity and how we're more we're more than just African. We're like African. We're American. We're Asiatic. So we're pretty much every. Think of any indigenous population in the world. We probably came from there. If you look in the videos, America has the oldest water, land, and fossils on the earth, scientifically proven. Pop of all creation. And you look at the video, it says Adam and Islanders, indigenous people are not from Africa. And then I'll post video links on the videos below. But we have more Asiatic. There's only 500,000 slaves were from Africa, and they're mainly from central. So that would be Congo, Central Africa, and then but we kind of came from all over. Kind of came from all over. Kind of came from all over, and there's a war on everyone. Trying to figure out what a Black American is, African American. We're simply American. We're simply, you can say American natives for the majority, and then mixed for many of us. You know, I probably have some mixed African in me. I'm probably mixed with African, European, and that might be a little bit of white, but mostly probably indigenous European. Maybe some Sephardic ancestry, maybe some a Mulungeon ancestry, and then we have a lot of there's a lot of it. And while the Indian is simply the what we can find as the starter, that the Indian sort of culture as like the start, that Aboriginal start. Uh, Everything else that there was everything that spawned off from there. Since they're saying America's the oldest, so that means everybody would come from America, then spawned outwards. So America would be the old world, and everywhere else would be the new world. Technically, the Americas as a continent, I think, is if you put South America, Central America all together, I think it's larger than Africa. I believe it's larger than Africa in terms of vertical size. But I believe it's larger, and that would make America large. Have larger indigenous populations. So it's less about us being American Indian and being native. It's more just being native. You have some that are most that are native. Some of them have European ancestry, and some of them have Europeans going back to Europe, and they have land in Europe, in America, and in Europe. So if I got a last name, it's a Sephardic name. That means I get land in Spain and Portugal, and depending on how deep you go, I get to connect with Jewish ancestry. Um, it's it's pretty interesting. What I'm figuring out in the Americas is how many of us are mixed. Same thing with Haiti. Haiti's mixed with French Negroes. So you're black French from the colonies. Then the you have the ones from the Americas, because you have the black French from the Americas, and like places Louisiana and places like that, the French colonies. Then you have other ones, so they don't know that they're mixed too. They're native to that place, but they're mixed. They don't stand. They think they're they're not mixed. So it's more like everything. Everybody's kind of mixed. You got everybody's mixed in America. America is a melting pot, but it's a melting pot of all the indigenous people, not foreigners, but the indigenous people came together and mixed with each other. So I probably have ancestry probably coming from, say, India with the CDs. Possible. You have to do genetic testing and seeing which genealogies and genetics to see which families that you come from. Um, you gotta see, you gotta see that. You gotta see that. You gotta see that. Um, and then you got something. I know this is the Kurohao video, but the research is getting from Swarthy Europe and Aboriginal inhabitants. It's about the Aboriginal inhabitants of the Aboriginal inhabitants. Let me turn my mic up of Europe, because Europe said they had dark skin, so they would be indigenous. So Aboriginals. So you could say they were black in a way because black means Aboriginal. The word black simply means Aboriginal, but they turned it into a social curse, where it's just tied to people with kinky hair. Well, not necessarily. It's simply just Aboriginal. If you come from the original lands, if you're an Aboriginal European, you would be black too. If you may not have kinky hair, but you would have you would have certain type. But we get caught up in phenotype. So they took the phenotype of what is said to be black, and they said that okay, the phenotype of black is kinky hair, kinky afros. Everybody got afros. That's black. If that's you're not black, you don't got no afro. You ain't a nick. Something like that. Something very surface level. Um, and I'm gonna try to make a video to where I can find I can find where I can find where I can find let me just where I can find the video. It's brought back. There's a video where they had brought other indigenous people from different lands, and they took them to here. That's why ancestries are all mixed up. Ancestries are all mixed up. And then so everyone thinks that while they're all indigenous to America, they have different ancestries come from different places. That's just what the topic was about, and it's just me and the podcast, so it's not really anybody else. Normally, podcast is like two or more people. Two more people. But he says in videos, he talks about seafaring of ancient Americans went on voyages to Europe, Africa, and Asia. So it kind of shows you that there were American Indians or Black Americans who had already left from the American continent and went to other continents long before colonization. So one can say that it had brought back people who were already American. So perhaps we are not mixed. Perhaps what you say is mixed is really pure. What you say is mixed when you see a pale skinned black man, as you say he's mixed, it's really just him. He's born like that. Born pale skin. And then somewhere down the line it just kept getting worse. We don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. But that's kind of the topic, ancient and modern Britons. Um, that's another book that talks about. That's a book that I had read actually. I'd read a good bit of that book, which it was a
The black pink.
it was I forget the word. Um, Scottish men. It's by a Scottish man. I read the book about these indigenous Europeans that were still there, still existed back in the early 1900s. So it wasn't too long ago. They're still there. They came to the Americas. So it's more like everyone got colonized all over the world. They got colonized by a force, and then they all got sent to the Americas. Everybody, everybody, you know, you know, and
Black people.
but the most recent black Europeans must be looked at under the guise of gypsies. So, what was a very dark skinned gypsy was actually a Native American, American Negro. They just simply look different. So it's very possible, but that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I'm not gonna focus too much on it today. I had a weird dream too. I had the weirdest dream. I'm still trying to. That's why I'm so out of focus. I'm like, what kind of dream did I have? I can't even remember. I can't remember anything. This is some type of dream I had. But that's what I wanted to bring to light because I think we're too focused on Native American and African and uh, all these places, and it's a little, it's just complex. It's very complex. Very complex. Americas is the oldest continent, therefore the oldest people. Therefore, you would find everybody here from Caribbean to and we're all fighting. We're all fighting too. The Americans, American, Caribbean, they're all fighting to be in America. I'm like, you have to fight. You don't have to come here to fight. It's because you see the best way to power is to dominate the person in power, but the person in power is trying to help you, and then you take over, and then the same thing then happens to you. So you create a cycle of your own destruction, and that's what you want to avoid. Is that everybody wants to be the top, and then you can get to the top. You can get to the top. The only way you have to do what you need to do to get to the top is because someone's trying to stop you from doing it. They're trying to bullshit you. That's it. That's it. Trying to bullshit you. Trying to bullshit you. No. Trying to bullshit you. So, uh, In fact, if you look at old pictures of European gypsies, European, dark-skinned gypsies, you look at European dark-skinned gypsies, uh, if there's even such thing. If I can find a picture, yeah, I might have to go on Google. Go on the Google search bar. Brave doesn't really work. They dark skinned. If you look at these pictures, they were once dark skinned, and this is that the Native Americans expanded outwards into and they were indigenous, aboriginal. So many of in fact the Romans had a myth at one point. There's a Roma myth, a gypsy myth, that they said that their ancestors were once black or dark, very very dark, very very dark. We're all under the same earth, and I do think there's a minority that is not of this earth, but we're all under the same earth. It's very possible that everybody is American, and they just all forgot. We all forgot why we were all American, but I don't know, because they certainly don't act like it. There are some Black American gypsies, Afro-Romanis, there was a mixed, or American gypsies, but there is a mixed there was a culture somewhere. I don't know if it was American, but I was reading about the Romani, Black American Romani. Yeah, something like that. Like Romani, like Black Americans and Romani culture. Like there was a Romani and Negro culture here. I can't really find it. It's hard to find it, but I did read about it, and there was something. It was something important. Afro-Romas, 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 Afro-Romas. They're Afro-Romas. I was reading about Afro-Romanism, Afro-Romas, Romani culture. It's in America. I saw plenty of pictures. Like America's huge. America is it's not just huge, but it has all of it, all of those indigenous, all of it, 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 all the indigenous races. It has everything. It has everything. I try to find it, but there is American. I wish I could find these pictures, man. I wish, to my audience listening, I wish I could find these pictures. Uh, Afro Romani. I can't find it. Afro Romanians. They have African descent, but talking about the Afro Romanians in America. Afro Romani people in Louisiana are descended from both black and Romani enslaved people. Yes, 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 yes. Afro-Romani community exists in St. Martin Parish, Louisiana. Yeah, Romani ancestry, southeastern tribes. There were these tribes. I'm gonna have to see if I can find more of a book, but there were Romani and American Negroes. And there were communities here, it's hidden communities, something that you never see in the American media. The American media would never show an American Negro Romanian culture because they think Black American culture is the modern American culture, which comes from the when America became unified in the 1800s, which is still indigenous American culture. It's still indigenous culture. It's just that they particularly only show one part. They show one microcosm of American Negro culture. It is vast. American Negro culture is so vast. It's so vast and so wide that that to black men and black women, or indigenous men, indigenous women who think, oh, I need to find a European man because I like his European culture. You can find that in America. You can find that man in America. You can find that indigenous European man who has the same European Western mindset. Maybe not the Western mindset, but has a very similar components on top of being indigenous to the world. So there's Afro Gypsy. There's a lot of Afro Gypsy culture, and they attribute the Afro Gypsies. They, like I said, they'll say, okay, the Romanian. They say they came from. It came from the pale skin, but it's more like the Romanians were once very dark, once very very dark. They probably were like this, but extremely dark. Maybe somewhat curlier hair, extremely dark with curlier hair. Aboriginal. Think of Cheddar Man. Think of Cheddar Man. The original Gypsy would be Cheddar Man. He'd be darker than this. He'd be a lot darker than this. They're only showing like the picture I'm pulling. They showed paler skin Cheddar Man, but the Cheddar Man would have been very dark copper color. They're showing a dark copper colored man, and they also showed a kinkier hair man. And then I guess eventually something turned more pale. Same with the Mulungeons. The Mulungeons are Native American, native to America. They're not mixed or anything. They're just natives. And then they just turn pale skin too. Central Asians were also once. Central Asians were also once uh, dark, and then they turn pale. So I don't know where pale skins come from. I don't know where the pale skin comes from. I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it was always here. Maybe the illusion was that all this shit's fake, and you're all just here in the same world fighting each other, and you're attacking each other. But you know, um, but that's kind of what I wanted to start in with, is to show phenotypical diversity amongst American culture, and you know that's what I wanted to show. Thank you for listening to my podcast. This is Yoa signing out, and you guys have a great day.